Hello and welcome to a special episode of Let's Talk About Cuba. Ullekh, you visited Cuba. How long did you spend there? And why did you decide to write this book about revisiting the revolution?
When I talk about Cuba, I also think about Kerala. In Cuba, they invested hugely in healthcare and education. In the case of education, it's far beyond what we can dream of.
Why do you have such a huge interest in Cuba? You yourself told me that even before many works of Fidel Castro had been translated to English, they'd already been translated to Malayalam and you'd already consumed that. Is it normal for all Malayalis to be interested in Cuba?
I think so. In Kerala, we say Che Guevara. Che Guevara.
It's become one word.
One word, Che Guevara. But they don't accept when you say that his name is Che Guevara.
How much of what you had read, imagined, was turned out accurate, and how much of it was completely surprising to you?
What I found while speaking with the young people is that they are not interested in the revolution.
I have a question about, you mentioned Che, and of course there were certain things very remarkable about him, his, just his resilience, his can-do attitude, etc. But a lot of people describe him as a terrorist.
We have been focusing too much on Che the revolutionary and less on Che the minister. When I was very little, I was disallowed from playing games with those people from rival political parties. It's so strange. So the Marxist household, like the army household, it took on.
But would you call it indoctrination at a very young age, just like similar to the RSS formula? The Cuban immigrant is something that what we've understood is that they want to come to America. But if that is the case, and that might be, one would assume Cuba would go the North Korea way or the China way, that they will not allow any US internet or social media. But you're saying that's not the case.
I met a lady who came from, who must be speaking something grossly against Cuba when she's in Florida. She flew down to Havana and checked into a medical hospital, got an abortion done and flew back to Florida, because in Miami, wherever she lives, abortion is banned. Cuba has been designated as a sponsor of terrorism by Trump. The Cuban government doesn't trust the Americans at all. There aren't directly American boots on Cuban soil, but they have trained a lot of people and sent them back to Cuba. Famous boat lifts that Fidel Castro had allowed over the long period he was in power. And majority of those people who were allowed to go were, he opened the prisons and mental asylums and all, and he allowed them to go. And he was poking fun at Americans. To the US.
To the US. So in a sense, what Trump says is right, except he's like 40 years late.
Yeah.
Is there a social pressure of doing well? That's why people are more chilled? Or is it typically people who live on the beach tend to be more chilled?
Either way, I think people, I buy that argument that people who live on the beach are more chilled out.
Susegard, what do they say in Goa?
Yeah, Susegard is not. I think it's Americans are in collaboration with Vietnam, a country that defeated them. And why so much of hostility towards Cuba?
What is the local media like? I mean, do they have their own version of Godi media?
What I found is all these media outlets, they carried more news about what the government had to say than about the problems they are facing. I have spoken to a lot of dissident journalists, and they have said that not a single journalist in Cuba has lost his life for speaking out against the government. I took a taxi once. I was made to pay $50 for an hour of taxi ride. $120 is something that he earned on that day. $120, a doctor or a highly skilled engineer, highly specialized engineer wouldn't earn even 2 months. Their average.
You serious?
Yeah.
If you were to go purely by market economics, like 80% of doctors of Cuba should vanish.
No, that's not happening, because also there is a sense of pride about what they do, and when you meet all these people, they think much more than about money. That
they're making it Viksit Cuba.
It is.